imperfectionists, if you're here, that means it's your time to reset, refocus, and set yourself up for an amazing week. Now, the best part about this is there's no complicated systems. It's going to be super simple, doable, and fast. Make sure you've got your pen and your planner, journal, or a blank sheet of paper because we're going to do this together now. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is reflect on last week. The reason that we want to do this is because there is a rule of life called the 80-20 rule. This means about 80% of what we do doesn't actually push us forward in any way. Only 20% of our actions actually lead to results. So every week we want to do an 80-20 evaluation of last week. The way that we do this is super simple. So if you've never done this before, don't feel intimidated. The first thing that you want to ask yourself is what went well last week? This is the 20% that we are talking about. What really worked for you and what do you need to make sure that you're doing more of as you go into the following week? Now, the next thing you want to ask yourself is what didn't work? What needs to change? This is your 80%. So take a moment now to look at what worked last week and what you're going to do more of in the following week and what just didn't work for you last week. This is something that you can focus on leaving behind or delegating out to somebody else. The last thing that we always like to do after our 80-20 is do a goal check-in. We want to see if we've succeeded with our goal, if we've made progress, or if we're off track. This really helps us know where we're at with our goal. Next, we're going to do a goal check-in. This helps us get really clear on if we've made progress, if we're stuck, or if we've succeeded with our goal for the week. Now, after we do all of this, the last thing that we want to do to reflect on the week is look at our win for the week. This helps you remember that you always have something to celebrate. You accomplished things even if they weren't the things that you originally set out to accomplish. Because let's be honest, you weren't in a coma all of last week. You did things. And so you need to take a moment to acknowledge those wins, and you need to get in the habit of doing this every week. Because if you don't, what will happen is you will fall in the habit of pushing off your celebrations. Every accomplishment you hit will not feel like enough. It will feel like you need to do more to really celebrate that win. So instead of pushing those wins and those celebrations off, stop and take a moment to build the habit of celebrating wins so you can really enjoy your accomplishments. Now, once we do our weekly reflections, we want to look at our weekly goal planning. The first thing you want to do is come up with your goal for the week. Your goal needs to be something that's defined and actionable. So make sure your goal is made up of two things: actions that you could do to complete, and a defined end of what success looks like. This is going to help you a ton when it comes to actually achieving this goal, because you know what you're going to do to accomplish this, and you know what the end game looks like, so you know when you're getting close. Now, this is not life proof. Life is still going to happen this week. So what we want to do is come up with a minimum and a maximum goal. So your minimum goal should be the easiest thing for you to accomplish. It should be so easy that you can't talk yourself out of it. So for example, if your main goal is to go to the gym 3 times this week, then your minimum goal should be to just show up at the gym once. That's it. Check in. You don't even need to do a workout. This works so well because once we get started, we have a tendency to keep going. So we want to set a minimum goal that's so easy to get started that it gets us progress in the right direction. Again, you are in no obligation to keep going once you've accomplished your minimum goal, but over 80% of the time, once you start, you wind up keeping going and you wind up accomplishing even more. Now, your maximum goal is if everything in life goes right, what do you really want to accomplish this week? So instead of going to the gym 3 times, maybe you ideally want to go 5. Now, a quick little tip for all of my imperfectionists out there that are recovering from their perfectionism. We tend to set really big goals. So your main goal might need to become your maximum goal. If you are saying, I want to go to the gym and do 45-minute workouts 5 times a week, but you don't really go to the gym at all, you're not setting yourself up for success. So make that your maximum goal and then scale your goal back from there to a main goal of going 3 times a week and doing a 30-minute workout and a minimum goal of going 1 time and just checking in. It doesn't matter how long you work out. This way, you've got things that are going to work with you depending on your energy and depending on what life is going to throw at you this week. Now, once you have all of this set, we are going to do our final step for planning this week. This is going to be the 5-step plan. This helps you really live a fulfilled life. So the first thing that you want to do is think about what your health goal for the week is. How are you going to take care of yourself? Do you need to schedule a doctor's appointment or follow up with the dentist? Maybe you're going to look at doing those workouts and your health goal is also your main goal. That's allowed. Now come up with what you're going to do for your health goal, and if you're using your planner, add it into your weekly overview on what day you are going to do this goal. Now, once you have your health goal, the next thing that you're going to look at is your relationship goal. What are you going to do to nurture your relationships? Again, no one gets to the end of their life and says, I spent too much time with my loved ones. But we do know that one of the biggest regrets is that we don't spend time with the people that we love. So we're going to make sure that you don't have that regret at the end of your life. So what are the things that you are going to do, and who are the people that you are going to nurture relationships with, and how are you going to nurture those relationships? Figure out the who and the how, and once again, put it in your weekly overview if you're using your planner. This is going to help you stay accountable and actually follow up and talk to these people when you said you're going to. Now, once you have that, you're going to put in your personal goal. What is that thing that you said you were going to do this week? The main goal. Go to the gym 3 times. Put in your weekly overview when you are going to do this. What days are you going to go? Is it going to be Monday? Is it going to be Tuesday? Are you going to go Saturday? Add this into your calendar now. Now, once you have all of this, take a moment and look at your calendar. These are the things that you're going to accomplish this week. Now we've got to look at our requirements. What are the meetings that you have? Does your kid have a recital that you're going to need to attend? Make sure that you write all of these things down. You get them all out and written down so you have an idea. Okay, Tuesday's going to be really busy. I thought I was going to go to the gym on Tuesday. That's not going to happen because I have so many requirements. So you can adjust your personal goal at this point on when you plan to accomplish this. Now, quick note. This does not have to be rigid. This just gives you an idea, because if you're like me, at some point you might find yourself on Wednesday doom scrolling thinking, wait, I should be doing something else. Yes, go into your weekly overview and look at what you had written out for that day to help give you a North Star of what you should be doing instead of doom scrolling. Now, the last thing that you want to write out with whatever you have left are your to-dos. This is going to help you really focus on accomplishing the big things in life, staying healthy, staying on top of your relationships, and becoming the person that you want to become. One thing that I always say is I don't want my gravestone to just say, Julia, she had a very clean house. I am meant to do so much more, just like you, than just do menial tasks like cleaning my house or taking the dogs on a walk. Now, there's nothing wrong with those things, but if we don't schedule our lives right, those can overtake us, and our to-do list becomes the number one thing on our list. So take a moment to plan out your week and make sure you're really prioritizing your health, your relationships, and your personal goal. Your requirements are always there, and to-dos are always negotiable and delegatable. I don't even think that's a word, I just made it up. All right, now a quick recap. You should have done your weekly reflection and 80-20'd your week. You also should have looked at your goal check-in to see where you're at with your goal and what needs to be adjusted. And then you should have looked at your win for last week. What did you win at last week? Because I know you weren't in a coma. You accomplished things. Now, after your weekly recap, you should have your goal defined. What are the actions and what does success look like? Then you should have a minimum and a maximum version of that goal so you can stick with it no matter what life throws at you. And then you should have planned out your week using the 5-step planning. So what was your health goal? What was your relationship goal? What was your personal goal? And what are the requirements and the to-dos that you have for the week? Doing them in this order makes sure that you are maximizing your life and you're not getting stuck in just the menial tasks, so you can find your spark and you can live your big, full, authentic life like you're meant to. Now, let me know what you thought and if this video was helpful and what other videos you would like to see from me in the future. All right, imperfectionists, now go out there and keep kicking butt.